back. It's me, Brittany Hislop with Here, Let Me Help You. Okay, one of these has to be good. If not, I'm literally gonna die. Okay, bye. Hey.
Hey.
Welcome to Here, Let Me Help You.
Hello.
We have a special guest again.
My brother.
How you doing,
Our dear
guys?
friend, Mike Stone, MC Stone. What should we call you?
Stoney.
MC Stone works.
Michael?
MC Stone's the YouTube channel, so
Yeah,
we can
I've
go with
always
that. Mike works too.
referred to him as
Michael,
Stone. This was the friend that came with us on our first date to Applebee's, just so everyone knows that right off the bat. We did an episode
She always
earlier.
says that our first date together was Applebee's, and
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was.
that.
not in my memory.
You don't remember
Brittany, I
that
wish I
day
could put
when
up
we
for
met
you.
each other and we were all at the Applebe's? Do you? I'm sure you
No.
don't remember. It wasn't significant to him.
We
But
probably
it was,
zonged out of
I
our
thought
mouths. Sorry.
we probably all
we were
were.
young.
I thought
You know.
our first date was a movie.
We went to a movie after, and then Stone
You know, now
departed
I'm
because Stone
thinking-
was living with you. If I'm
Yeah.
not right, so I'm
Stone
assuming.
was living with me.
I'm assuming you invited him to tag along because he needed
my
like
date?
dinner. Well, we were all friends.
Oh, okay.
Or like I knew he was a friend and he was just moving here to Arizona because Stone is not from here.
The
Yeah.
first time I remember y'all was when Ryan was working security at
Yeah.
Firehouse Tempe.
Yeah, that's how we met.
That's
and
how
then
we all
Brittany
met,
started coming
right?
around.
Yeah.
That's how I remember, but I don't remember the Applebee's episode.
We'll get into this more
I
later.
remember
Maybe-
going to dinner, but I
maybe.
just don't remember specifically Applebee's.
I just know specifically Stone and I have had a very long history. Basically, ever since I've known Ryan,
well
I've
over a
known
decade.
Stone. Yeah,
Yeah.
close to like 12, 13 years now.
I mean,
so. We're
100%.
This is
here,
family here.
and we're just gonna chat today, and we'll start. We'll go further into detail later, but let's start with what we always
can
start
get
with.
into the origin story a little bit.
Word of the
Yeah.
day is what we need to focus on right now because I don't want to forget about it.
And Stone's going to pick it.
He's doing the honors here. He's got our handy dandy dictionary, the new lexicon.
Oh, jeez, that's a pretty straightforward one. We
I
can do
know.
that.
I just thought it was funny because it popped out at me.
Oh, how about ectoplasm?
Yeah, there we
Okay.
go. I don't know what that
Can
is.
you spell that, please?
ECTO
Plasm.
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 You nailed
okay.
it. Yeah, you
Is
got
it a noun?
It is a noun.
Okay.
The external differentiated layer of cytoplasm in a cell next to the cell wall, parentheses, spiritualism, the luminous substance supposed to emanate from a medium in a trans-ectoplasm.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
You
So
know,
it's kind of like an aura.
It's
kind of
ghost.
like
It's a ghost thing.
Yeah,
It's a
like
ghost thing?
Yeah,
probably like a-
I was about
ectoplasm
to
is a
say
ghost thing.
like biology, but I
well,
guess
that
not.
too, but I think it's kind of like it's like a light, it's like a halo light
An
or something,
aura?
like an aura.
I think so.
Wait,
I
what's
think
the word
you know
again?
what?
I
You know,
already forgot it.
Ectoplasm.
I picture it as like if you were to, I don't know, hit a ghost and it didn't go through them, but it actually like hit
Made
them
them.
bleed?
That's what would splatter everywhere. Would be the
Ectoplasm.
ectoplasm. That's how I understand it. I think I heard the word Randy Marsh in South Park. I think
He's used the word.
he's used the word. I think there's a scene where
Now we need to find it.
South
Yeah.
Park's my favorite.
I'm just
Where should Google like
Randy Marsh ectoplasm. I don't know. That might take you somewhere. Maybe somewhere
Good
you want to
one.
go. Maybe somewhere you don't want to go. You know.
we're not going to do it for you.
But I
you
think
can do it.
ectoplasm is what comes out of the ghost when the Ghostbusters.
It's what they bleed.
I think so.
We've
Okay.
now created
But-
a new definition.
But
Yep.
let's read, one more time. Ectoplasm, the external differentiated layer of cytoplasm in a cell next to the cell wall. The luminous substance supposed to emanate from a medium in a trans-ectoplasmic. Yeah, so
Yeah,
the luminous
it's definitely
substance supposed
biology.
to emanate from a medium in a trans-ectoplasmic, and then it's like
I just keep thinking of like mitochondria.
So I think the first definition, the external differentiated layer of cytoplasm,
That sounds
in a cell,
biological.
that is bio.
Yeah, that's
you're on to biology.
Yeah.
And then the
Definition is
second part of the
biology. The second
definition
is like I
It's
seriously
pretty
think it's-
Ghostbustery.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty
spiritual,
close.
it
I
says.
think it is. Yeah, I think it's what comes.
It
out
can
of
be
it.
used in like two ways. All
That's
right.
way better than economy or any of these other lame words. So.
Yeah. Well, what's
There you
right
go,
that?
guys.
Ecophysiology? Never mind. That's boring.
I didn't see that one. Lot
No,
going on.
that's a good one.
That's a good
Awesome.
one. I like the
Awesome.
ectoplasm.
Thank you.
Dictionary.
Ectoplasm,
Yep.
noun. We usually try to
Our
use it
awesome
throughout the
dictionary.
episode, but we've been failing, and I don't even think I can remember the word after 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, so we got to try
Ectoplasm.
and use ectoplasm later on in the show.
Oh man, it's gonna be
I'm
hard to
gonna
weave
use it-
in. We
I'm
need a
gonna use
ghost.
it in the form of like my aura, like my ectoplasm
Baby.
is.
But
I
wouldn't that be
agree.
wrong definitionally?
It's like you're somewhat over the target.
I
You're
don't
warm.
know how to use it.
I think it's what comes out of a ghost. that's what I think.
Ghost jelly.
There's some biology.
Maybe I'll use
you
it
know,
as like an analogy.
but ectoplasm.
All right. Well,
All right, guys.
you've learned and you
Awesome.
learned.
Yeah. Well, kinda. I'm not
Maybe.
very
We're
not
clear
sure
on
if
what
we-
Maybe you learned it. I don't know if we have yet.
We're halfway.
We're not
Right.
sure. We're halfway
We
there.
might have to revisit that.
Randy ectoplasm.
No,
I
Randy
seriously
Marsh from
think that's
South
in a
Park.
South Park episode.
You think so?
Yeah,
Just look it up.
I don't
That's-
remember
I'm
it.
pretty sure. I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't remember it.
It comes up in South Park.
I'd have to check that.
I didn't even know the word. So the fact that you even have
Yeah.
reference of the word is
Brought it up.
very.
Yeah,
it's very
that's South
impressive.
Park. It's just something telling me that that's South Park. But
Such an intelligent young
I
man.
don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've watched a lot of South Park. You guys, I
Haven't we
really
all?
have.
But not. I'm not. I'm usually not sober when I watch it.
I love
so-
South. I haven't watched South Park in a long time.
Same
actually.
Z's.
I haven't either. Which is
Like
pretty
since
sad,
2020, probably.
Yeah,
Because those episodes
were
were
good.
hilarious.
where
Insane.
Integrity
When-
Farms. Where
Yeah.
you
Went
had
during-
Integrity
Farms.
Farm and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
And the member berries.
Yeah,
Oh my
remember?
God.
I remember. Yeah, that was funny. And like Mickey Mouse.
PC
Yeah.
Pre-C principal.
Do you know Mickey
Wait,
Mouse?
Mickey Mouse, I
know
think, was
the Mickey
older
Mouse.
though.
No,
it was
because
older.
Mickey Mouse started COVID because they
Oh
Yes.
yes,
And he-
yes.
with the
But he
bat.
was in one earlier when, like,
Yeah,
right
I
when
think
the
so.
what's that
God,
boy
man.
band that came out?
What?
BTS.
No,
One
it's
Direction.
U.S. located.
Oh.
The three brothers,
What?
The
Oh,
Jonas
Jonas
Brothers.
Brothers.
Jonas Brothers.
The Jonas
They
Brothers.
like Mickey Mouse was like managing them, and he's like, "You mother."
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He's,
I
And he
remember
like
that.
beats the
totally
shit out
different.
Of the Jonas
Totally
Brothers.
different.
Yeah, that's the
I
one I was
remember
Totally
thinking of.
different in South
That's
Park.
my favorite.
Not the Mickey Mouse
That
we
one's
knew
so
and
funny.
Oh my God, I miss South Park. Now I kind of want to watch
Oh,
it
it's
again.
great. It's great.
I was.
That's the best.
We should catch
satire.
up. We probably have four.
Yeah, I was gonna
four
say,
do
seasons.
isn't
think-
it on HBO?
I think so. Yeah. all the episodes.
As
It's the
far as
best
South Park
satire.
goes, it's the best satire.
It's the best.
They're really good at just pulling whatever is going on in the zeitgeist
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
out and then weaving it all in with
Into
other
everything.
things that are going on. And they
Mhm.
always do it in a way that you couldn't have guessed they would have done it. But then on hindsight, you're like, dang, that's genius.
Their brains are on.
Trey Parker is on another
yeah.
level. And Matt Stone too, but I think Trey Parker is
Mhm.
like the real
Yeah.
creative genius. And I think Matt Stone kind of
Weaves his
complements
yeah.
it, and
Mhm.
they have a kind of a synergy where 1 + 1 does not equal 2. It's 1 +
Like
1
12.
equals 5
Yeah.
or 12, something like that. Yeah. So
It's so
Yeah.
impressive, like how people not only write a show, but then like write all the characters and then
Yeah.
all the different lines for all the characters.
And
how
quickly.
they do the voices. for
Yeah.
and so
the characters,
quickly.
too.
I think there's a show 7 days to air or 6 days to air.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a documentary on,
On
how they
do
make
it,
a South
yeah.
Park
Interesting.
Because
episode,
they would
and they
write their
just
shows week to
they
week.
just start
Yeah.
like this, like talking,
Right.
and then within 6 days
It
they-
comes out right because I mean I'm just thinking from like I always want to do like production for like a late night show like
Mhm.
Jimmy Kimmel or something, and that's every night too. You got to come up with
Mm.
like things every single night. So I'm just thinking like how do they come up with
It's
all
insane.
the script
Yeah,
every single week
and keep it that fresh,
Yeah.
and relevant.
That
And
must
people
be
coming back
really
like
insane.
that. Just,
and
just
then
like
it's not
hitting
just them,
dingers, you know?
yeah. They got to
Mhm.
pretend like they got to come up with all the characters.
Yeah, and they
too.
rarely flop. You know, South Park rarely flops. Like
They
even
rarely
a bad
miss.
episode
It's
is still pretty good.
funny.
you know?
Yeah.
And then the really good ones become
Yeah, the iconic ones
really.
are
Yeah.
like
they become
yeah.
just a staple in your culture.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
They
It's
can't
crazy
because they
what
can't
they've
really
done.
write too far in advance because they're going off of like what's happening
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, real creativity. Like that's a real flow state.
Yeah.
just
Yes.
making true satire of society.
And then the voices
in the
too.
now.
So it'd be one thing if you were really good at writing good comedy, but then you're suddenly
Yeah.
now you're voicing 12 different
right. I
characters.
guess
Yeah.
that's my thing.
And then you wrote a musical number in there.
Right.
It's like where did
it's
you
one
pull
thing to
that
pick up a
ability
funny
out?
bit and a funny story and like
Yeah.
talk about it on late night or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's totally different to make a literal whole cartoon conversation like
Yeah.
with multiple
And nobody's safe, right? They
characters.
go after everybody.
Everybody.
no one's safe.
No one.
Oh my gosh.
Can you do me a favor and
Yeah.
hand me my beer?
Yeah.
And then,
And then-
Sorry. Thank
yeah,
you.
Stone, are you watching anything besides South Park right now?
Oof.
Yeah, are you
Honestly,
like, into
not
TV
really. I've been
shows?
more on the internet just watching like podcasts and
Which
I don't know,
ones?
what
Finance
kind-
like-
podcast?
definitely some of those. And then just Joe Rogan too, if I like the
Okay.
guests. It can be real hit and miss with
Yeah.
those Joe Rogan types, but sometimes once a week I find somebody that I'm like, I'm interested.
so
in
many
that,
different guests
and
that
go
he
for that.
generally
And then
has, yeah.
yes, some of the finance podcasts like Gregory Manarino's
Mhm.
video blogs. He does 2 of those a day. They give you. He's got his finger over the pulse of the market, so
Yeah.
you can get something out of that. But as
Big
far as
macro guy.
yeah, real big macro guy. But as far as just for my own entertainment, I watched Starship Troopers recently again because I watched it when I was
The
a kid.
old one?
Yeah, the old one.
Okay,
Came out in,
Starship
like,
Troopers. That's the
1990.
one where they're like
What the fuck is that?
killing those black crab alien looking things.
Yeah, they're definitely
Okay.
killing the arachnids.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Clan
yeah.
Dathun. I
Okay,
think is
yeah,
the
yeah,
name.
yeah.
So
I just haven't seen it in so long. I wanted to make sure I'm getting the right
Where
movie.
is that even? Where can you find that?
So it's
show?
actually a good sci-fi.
It's pretty
and
sweet.
it I honestly,
Where did you find
y'all,
this? The dark web?
You've already
No,
seen
Reddit?
it,
I've already
but
seen it.
you-
No, it's
you
just old.
honestly need to see it.
Oh.
It's just old. It
haven't
was
seen
like
it?
in
No,
the
I don't wanna
90s.
see it.
You should.
No.
It's good. It's you wanna
Last
talk
movie
about
you
good
said
satire?
that I should watch
were-
was Grizzly Man. And I
That was
actually
great.
because of you.
That was great.
and I actually
That's a
did watch
Grizzly-
it.
Come on,
It's
can we get a
actually-
like and a
Yeah,
Can we get a
'cause
like for
Grizzly Man-
Can we get a comment?
I'm not
I
gonna
need
say
some
it
defense.
wasn't very niche, and I was
It was
eyes
wild.
glued to the.
It was
to the screen.
wild.
But it is a weird,
Yeah, he's a weird dude.
documentary.
He's a
and
weird
then
dude.
after that, you had me watch
It's wild.
Clockwork Orange, and then we
That's a
watched
little
Braveheart
ridiculous.
all in one day.
Braveheart. Yeah, you guys had like a
Sorry
movie
about
thon.
that. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Oh,
And I don't
That's a
watch
pretty
movies.
gnarly combo too. But
Yeah.
you actually would like. No,
I don't think I'm gonna like this.
we're gonna
movie that
watch
you're
Starship
talking about.
Troopers. So
hell yeah.
Mm,
When are we doing this?
guys, I think
She needs to.
let her know
No.
she needs to see the movie.
I try to make her watch all types of movies, and she's
No, I don't
like,
watch movies.
"What are you watching?"
I'm trying to think.
Like,
what
that's
other
weird.
movies have
I don't
seen
watch
I'm
this
like,
year?
movies.
"Oh man,
I don't.
we gotta watch.
movies.
We gotta watch TV movies.
Yeah, but the TV show.
What shows are y'all watching?
I watch
Uh,
pretty much. I can get into anything.
Any drama?
Mostly drama. I
Like
don't
Yellowstone or
Yellowstone
Well,
was
yeah,
good.
we got to catch up on that.
We have not caught up on that because that kind of got
They
played out
only,
to me.
yeah,
I never got into it.
It
I was told
it was good. I
Started.
was
It is
told-
good.
It started great.
Yeah,
We loved Succession.
Succession
That
was
was a
good.
great.
that's
drama.
about the rich family and like
Mhm.
it's
Like
which
the Murdoch
kid is going to
family.
take over the
Mhm.
family.
Yeah, it's good.
That was a
Okay.
really good.
I've
fun.
heard that, but I haven't seen it.
Billions was pretty good.
Yeah,
But we
Billions.
haven't watched Billions
That
in a
was
while either.
That's not a current one. Like the most current one we're watching right now is that murder mystery show,
Yeah, well, just the new Black Doves that came out on Netflix.
Black Doves. It's
Haven't
actually
seen it.
pretty
Those were pretty
I
good.
haven't seen it.
But
I-
that Death with Other Details was a good mystery.
Oh
TV
yeah,
show.
another good one. That
Yeah,
was
we
a,
watched.
it came out a couple years ago, but it's on.
We watch way too much TV.
Netflix. So that's my thing. If it's a series and it's technically could be a movie, but it has like more. I need more details
Yeah,
than what a movie gives me sometimes.
I got you.
And so a series gives me like all the nitty gritty.
They can flesh out a story.
It flushes out the
longer,
story
yeah.
more.
Mhm.
That's
It's
what
like
I like.
a 10-hour
movie.
movie over like a
Yeah,
2-week.
Or
period
that's why I don't like movies. I like
however long
TV
we watch.
series.
yeah. You like to
Anyways.
get invested in it,
But I also just
in
like
the
reality TV.
character arcs and
Yeah.
just all that.
Yeah.
Listen
But
to
I
it a
love
little bit more.
movies too.
Yeah,
I can do
I
it.
feel that. You know what's
Yeah.
amazing? Talk about good shows. I guess Squid Game season 2 is going to be coming out in the next few days. Have you guys seen Squid Game season 1?
I
No.
heard
I
it was
wanted
good, but
to
I told
watch it.
Ryan
We haven't
absolutely
watched it.
not.
Really, you guys have not seen Squid Game?
She told me
No.
You
absolutely
need to.
not.
No.
You-
I don't wanna watch
I know.
that.
I want to.
It's kind of gnarly.
I
It's
want to.
gnarly.
But
it's
it,
right.
but you want to ask me like what good show of the last 4 years? To me, that's the best show that's come out was Squid Game
Yeah.
Ah.
since 2020 or before. If you were like, what's the best? And that's I think a South Korean.
Have you seen
it's
Ozarks?
filmed in South Korea. It's subtitled.
Yeah. Have you
There's-
watched Ozarks?
No, but
Ozarks is really
no,
good
actually,
too.
I think I saw the first couple episodes about the guy
With
that does
Jason
the shady
Bateman?
accounting.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah. What's his name?
Jason
actor,
Bateman.
Jason Bateman.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
cleaning
Dude, I
the
love
books
that
for
actor.
criminals or something.
Yeah.
And he moves his family
washes
out
money.
to the Ozarks, right?
Yep.
It's kind of the whole
That's a
idea.
good one too.
Dude, that's a good.
It's
one.
on Netflix. That's
Yeah.
why I thought of that.
Like,
Like,
episodes
yeah, it was
into
like
that.
competing with Squid Game at one time. I
Yeah,
think.
but I can't say I stuck around.
I thought it was a good one.
No,
But
there's always something good out there though. And Squid Game season 2 will be coming out. I seriously it might be like today or tomorrow, like any day now. Maybe the week. We're
After
already at the
Christmas.
week before.
I'm trying to watch
so-
the Paris and Nicole Richie Simple Life
Oh my
reboot.
God.
Those
Is
are
she
the
still
shows we watch.
is Paris still DJing?
Hell yeah, she
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. And
I
she's
never
actually
like
legit,
listened.
dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm not.
hey,
I'm
fair
not.
enough.
I
Yeah.
am not like one of those people who's just gonna like pump up someone that sucks. But I
It-
swear she's not bad.
All right.
Dude, we actually have
Well, then I'll check it out.
their original season back in the when was it, the 90s or the early 2000s?
It was early 2000s, like when I was obsessed with
The
them in-
original show together
Oh,
on
yeah.
DVD.
I remember that.
Yeah,
we,
I was
and we
obsessed.
watched it on
See?
DVD.
Yeah.
Because it was
Okay.
on
Yeah.
it was on like regular cable, and it was everyone was watching it.
Yeah. Those are back in like the
I remember,
MTV days.
Sing
Yep.
it, yes. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I used to sing it.
Like, really before the Kardashians, I want to
Oh
say.
yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were like the
It was-
OGs of
it
reality
was-
television.
Yeah.
That's what made
And what's the other one's name?
Nicole Richie,
Nicole
Yeah, so
Richie.
Lionel
her-
Richie's daughter.
Lionel Richie's
Okay.
daughter.
They were neighbors,
Yeah.
best friends, whatever, and they like kind of grouped
Mhm.
together. And then so when she needed to, they got pitched this show. Like Paris got this show, like pilot. Like, hey, do you want to go do this? And she's like, I'm not doing this by myself. So she's like, hey, do you want to come with me? And like asked her friend to go do it. And they like literally moved to, I think it's like Alabama or something for 30 days. And that's like all they got. That's like all they kind of knew is like they were gonna go live with these country
Farmers.
folk in the middle of nowhere, and they had to go work these odd jobs. Like, and they honestly low key killed it because these girls like, although they were like raised kind of like I don't know,
Way different than
yeah, they were just like too nice to be mean.
Yeah.
Nicole
you know?
Richie was wild.
She was wilding
She
out.
was wild.
It's
remember
worth it.
her. And but not lately.
See?
I haven't seen much out of her.
Yeah,
Me
so-
neither. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Paris
it was
Hilton, her
2000s.
dad ran Hilton Hotels. Is that?
Yeah, well, her grandfather did,
Okay, the grandfather.
and her dad has a Hilton real estate, Hilton in Highland, I believe it is, or something like that. The real estate.
Okay. And that's kind of what put them on the map was the hotel game.
Yeah, I mean,
and then
he's
they
like
had the daughter,
Vegas
who
royalty.
just became kind of a socialite and a
yeah, so
MTV star, and then she became a DJ.
Yeah, she was the first influencer. Well,
Yeah.
besides Martha
Mhm.
Stewart.
So I did just watch the Martha Stewart documentary.
You did?
Did you watch
and
that?
And I liked it, but you know what? They did her dirty.
Thank
They
you.
did her dirty.
Even Martha said that. Thank you,
They did her
Stone.
so dirty.
I am
Oh,
so
man.
happy
She didn't
that
deserve
you appreciated that.
Yeah, she didn't.
And I
deserve
liked
that.
it.
You guys,
It was legit kind of sad. But man, she is a predator. She wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's an apex predator.
Yeah.
I know.
Talk about type A.
I know.
Like, oh my gosh. Another level.
Talk about type
She's,
A.
the perfect life kind
But
of
I
thing.
think, I mean, yes, I agree. Martha's on, like, she's on some shit. Like, she's like, no, we are not fucking around. And I like that about her. But I think the documentary didn't, like you said, they did her dirty. They didn't
They
talk
did.
about her family. They didn't talk about her grandkids. They didn't show, like, her
Mhm.
softer, like, they didn't show, like, her motherly side.
Yeah,
nothing.
they really leaned into the controversy and scandal.
Yeah, they spent
And they
way
raked
too much
her over
time.
the coals.
Yeah,
They
on
really
the
did.
court case
Yeah,
and all that
all
stuff,
that.
which was interesting, but it's like not what I don't think.
and dude,
No,
Snoop
yeah, they
wasn't
didn't really
in it.
want to talk about the
Yeah.
things that really brought her to that level of success, but rather just the scandal and controversy.
Right.
That's all they
Yeah.
wanted to
Right.
talk about.
Yeah,
They
I
did
felt
her
bad for
dirty.
her. And then at the very end, I told Ryan,
Yeah,
I was
she
like, why
didn't
does she
deserve
seem
that.
so old and alone? Like,
She
why
didn't
did
deserve that.
no?
Yeah.
She didn't deserve that.
No, I
So,
completely agree.
sad. But it's still a good documentary.
I agree. I think whoever put
Just
together,
because we had grown up always just we knew she was famous, but we didn't really have any context there. Like if you're a
That's my
90s
point.
baby,
yeah,
Yeah.
you're a teenager in the early 2000s, you know that she's like the world's first minted
right,
female billionaire.
right,
But you
Mhm.
don't really know how, you don't really
Right.
know why.
right.
You don't,
And that's my thing. I think that was so disappointing. Is like we all knew Martha. Everyone knows Martha is like the
Mhm.
criminal. Unfortunately, like
Yeah.
any person I think who has
the
context of
criminal
her,
that hangs out with Snoop.
Snoop Dogg,
Yeah,
right?
that's how we
So,
know
like,
her.
I
We
wanted
know
them
her
to
from
paint the
Snoop Dogg in
picture-
jail.
yeah,
But she
and-
didn't deserve that.
No,
And the insider trading thing, dude, honestly, they're all doing that on Wall
Thank
Street.
you.
So they really they
No.
gave her like special treatment, like,
just because
oh,
she was a
you're the
billionaire.
criminal. It's like, dude, it wasn't even really technically insider trading. Wasn't it just like a friend told
Yeah.
her that they were
Yeah.
gonna
he was going to do something, and so she's like,
They
well, I'm
were
going to do
gonna
it
sell
too.
yeah, like
it.
I know a guy selling some stock, so I'm gonna sell my stock.
Right.
But
I
Yeah.
think I'm going
it,
to do
it
it
she's
too.
like,
wasn't
okay,
like one of
cool.
those things like, okay, we're gonna issue all the shares to
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it was nothing even
yeah.
close to that, so it's pretty benign. They had it out
And then
for
she
her,
went
you know?
to then she went to
They
prison
had it out for her.
They did.
And then she went to prison.
I feel bad for Martha. She was
And
just
they
trying
called
to
it
and
invest.
survived.
Yeah,
She was just trying to invest, which is the reason why we're here. I just
Yeah,
want
a
to say
little
that
bit.
for a minute.
for sure.
We should segue into that.
For sure.
Segue into investing.
Yeah, well, because that's one reason why I wanted to have Stone here is because he is much smarter than I.
And I.
And so I need to learn from him. But he's like our finance guru, man.
A little bit. I dabble for sure.
Yeah.
I learned like a lot.
He would be like
Everything.
the guy who would be calling me. If I'm Martha, he'd be calling me, and then he'd
To-
have me in
To
jail.
incriminate you. Yeah. I'd be calling you the illegal stock tip.
Yeah,
That's right.
he would be.
No, guys, that's
our,
funny
our
though.
money guy.
That'd be
Well,
our
I
guy.
started dabbling around in markets in 2009, so I was 19. I was actually in Afghanistan when I
Blew
started
my
doing that
mind.
with him, with this guy right here.
Blew my mind.
So we go back a good bit, all the way
Yeah.
back to the Marine Corps. And that's where I started moving my own money around. I knew what stocks were, but that probably stopped about there. So yeah, I just kind of
Did your mom
dove in
originally
and
teach
I
you
got
about
bit by the.
stocks?
She still teaches me a lot. My mom is pretty good at the stock game.
Yeah.
Although wouldn't say that, but she's done quite well, and she's a pretty good investor. She's one of those boomer moms that bought Bitcoin way earlier than the other
See?
boomers.
So-
Yeah.
So was she the one who
She's-
motivated you back in 09
a
to like
little
get
bit,
started?
but my dad also kind of knew too, and we had different family members sprinkled about. So I was drawing a little bit of influence from everybody, parents, uncles, friends.
It was just kind of talked about within your family, and
Yeah, a little
seen.
bit. I was certainly exposed to it, but as soon as I started messing around with my own money from the first deployment, because I mean, think about it. You're 19, you have like 18 grand, which back in 2009 was actually
a
Yeah.
decent amount.
decent.
So
chunk of
once
money
you got
for
your
a
money from the
teenager.
government, you were
For a
like, oh, let me
teenager.
try to invest
Yeah,
some
and
money.
I had no bills.
I see. Okay.
And I had no bills because
Okay.
you're in the Marine Corps. You're in like a total institution, so they're paying all your bills and all your meals. I mean, your income's technically tax free too when you were in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You're getting combat pay and hazard duty pay and tax free, and everything's taken care of. So it's just like, well, if I'm sitting on a lump sum and I can't spend it because I'm here in Afghanistan, I might as well just start putting it through the market and see if I can double it. And so I just kind of off I went.
So what was your
and-
first stock
kinda
you picked? Do you
self-taught, huh?
remember?
I think Sirius XM Radio, the stock ticker
Why did
series.
you
They're
pick-
probably still trading.
Why?
Because it had crashed so when I got in, it was 2009. This is right after the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of picking up the pieces, and I think satellite radio was
Mhm.
kind of popping back then,
Sure.
kind of emerging. So I started messing around in Sirius XM Radio and made a little bit of money, if I recall correctly. But it's not like that became.
So you bought
a
it like
core
on
holding,
sale?
and
Is that why you bought it, or it was cheap?
everything was on sale in 2009 because the market had crashed in 2008, 2009.
see.
So you were getting the Dow Jones at like 6,000, and today the Dow Jones is
36,
about
38, 40.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's
over
over 40
40
now, huh?
yeah, and the Nasdaq back then was probably like 3,000 or 4,000,
yeah.
and it's 20.
Just over 20.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, just kind of got in, and then the little
So your money just started accumulating, and you got interested because you started
and the
to see
trading bug bit me, just like how a travel bug might bite you.
Well,
like, oh, well, I took my first trip to Spain, I just fell in love
Sure.
with traveling. The same thing can happen for somebody with trading. So you
So
place the first trade, you make a little bit of money, you feel like you didn't even earn.
Where did you sign up?
In
E-Trade?
E-Trade. In E-Trade.
Are they still a thing? right
Yeah,
now?
and they still
where
are,
we
and
have
they're
our
great.
account, or
You
my
should
account,
be.
our
You know,
account.
These are
E-Trade's
questions
fine.
that I have I'm just making sure because some people
Babe,
wanna
we
know.
have E-Trade.
Okay, cool.
But I do think the people who owned E-Trade has changed. Like, I think maybe
Yeah.
now Morgan Stanley owns it. Maybe it was owned by somebody else at that
It
point in time.
was,
But
yeah.
I liked E-Trade. That's where I started. That's the brokerage account I used for stocks. So, if you're into crypto, you're going to want to use things like Coinbase. But if you're into the stock market, you can definitely check out E-Trade as a good brokerage.
Right.
You also have Ameritrade. You also have Charles Schwab.
Okay.
I'm sure through like Wells Fargo banking,
Right.
you
So,
could buy stock.
I guess that was my second question is like, you don't need a financial advisor. If you feel confident enough, like you
To
can
do
literally
yourself.
just go on
Yeah.
E-Trade and just start picking
Yeah, it's
stuff.
just you versus the tape, Brittany. So you could
Do
just
they
be
have
like, me versus the
advisors on-
market and screw your opinion. Like it's
Yeah.
me.
Do they have advisors on E-Trade though? If you like wanted to hire someone?
So they certainly have really good 24/7 customer support, but I don't know that they would have like a licensed
Right,
fiduciary
you'd have
that
to
would
find
handle your funds.
someone.
You would probably want to go to Charles Schwab, maybe,
Yeah, or
something like
Fidelity
that,
or
just-
something.
yeah, Fidelity's great. But for E-Trade, it's just a brokerage account.
Okay.
So that's
Right.
how
You have to kind of know what
great
you're
customer
doing.
service though. You can call them at 3 a.m. and you can talk to a human.
That's
So
good. at
I
least.
I've had some weird things happen in trades,
Yeah.
like while you're trading, where you're like, uh-oh, did that sell go through, or why can't I buy this stock or whatever? So they have great customer service, but as far as financial planning,
When would you find time to trade in the middle of being in
there
Afghanistan?
wasn't a lot of time. So at the base that we were at, Cop Sullivan, we only got internet like halfway through the deployment.
Cop yeah. We only had one sat phone that everybody could use to call their loved ones. And we had that for like 4 months, and that was it.
And maybe we started with no computers, but we had maybe 4. And how many computers did we have by the end of the deployment? Maybe 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah.
So we started, and the internet was probably satellite.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It wasn't really day trading. It wasn't like I was in the trenches. Like, it was
you were just
like
monitoring your stocks
and buying stocks. I was placing orders, but it wouldn't be like place the order and wait to cash out.
Right.
Like, you couldn't just whenever I wanted, I would go log on. You know what I mean?
Well,
that was called like
days in between.
100%.
Well, I remember in the barracks room watching you trade, and you were like into like scientific pharmaceuticals or something, or some like weird shit.
That was a mess.
And
believe
too.
me, guys, I've won big and I've also lost big too.
Yeah.
I think every great trader has blown up 1 or 2 accounts though. I think it's just part and part. It's like being a race car driver and eventually hitting the wall. It's gonna happen. It's like being a motorcycle rider and like eventually you put the bike down. Like, it's not a if, it's a when and how bad.
That's what investing and gambling is.
And the line between investing and gambling can get very blurry.
There's also a gamble in keeping your money in the mattress and someone coming into your house and robbing you and stealing it all.
100%. Or just keeping cash and still having it lost.
And it just doesn't work anymore.
Of its value
so you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I just I think that's the importance of this episode, in my opinion, is just to teach people any little bit, even if it's like a tidbit. Because when I got out of high school, the first thing I didn't think to do was like, let me just start get an E-Trade.
You know what I mean? Most people think. They think that wealth, a good yardstick for your wealth ought be measured in dollars, and that's like the first mistake most typical normal people make. They think my yardstick for how much wealth I had needs to be measured in how many dollars I have in an account. But the fact of the matter is, the rich, they stay 1% cash, 99% assets. Elon's net worth right now is probably $400 billion.
I saw this post, like all the things he could do with $400 billion. It's like
he's hit about
the whole
$400
world.
billion. And if you were to say, okay, well, how much cash does he have? Far less than 1% of that's in actual cash, and then
1 billion.
99% of it is invested, or 99.5% of it, and it would look something like 90% Tesla shares,
right?
10% SpaceX.
Well, that's why I kind of giggled. At that whole post, they're like, he could buy everyone's Netflix subscriptions. It's like, but do you think he's literally sitting with like $400 million like in his Wells Fargo account?
Absolutely not. And his net worth is moving billions of dollars a day.
Yeah,
I mean, with $400 billion. As a net worth, you're swinging, 5, 10, 20 billion dollars a day.
Sure.
Tesla stock moves 1%. That's 10 billion one way, 10 billion the other way. So the first thing is just stuffing cash under the mattress or measuring your wealth in cash really isn't the way to go. What we want to do is we want to acquire assets, and you can do that many different ways. But I think the first thing would be to look at large companies that have staying power, dominant players in every space. So we're talking about Amazon, we're talking about Google, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, so Meta, so Facebook and Instagram Instagram. So these companies that really you already know about, you're aware of, you want to start owning pieces of those companies, and that's what stocks are. Just all stocks are pieces of companies. So you find profitable companies that you think are, pretty all weather. They're dominant players, and this isn't going to change tomorrow.
Right.
And you start parking your money in there, and you want to stay spread around too. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Diversification is magic. So you're going to want to spread yourself around. You're going to want to maybe own a little bit of Tesla, maybe own a little Nvidia,
right?
Maybe own a little bit of Amazon, maybe have some tech, some silver, like you were talking about with silver.
Yeah.
Sure, throw some physical silver under the mattress or in a safe deposit box or something like that. Some gold, some platinum,
artwork,
Bitcoin, original
purses.
Artwork. Sure,
I heard that the Hermes increases in value, or is increasing in value more than the S&P 500.
Yeah, and some art outperforms the S&P 500 as well by a lot. So
that was the question I was going to ask you is like, if you're not interested in maybe buying, if you're too
what do you
scared,
like? I have friends
that kind of gets into like, what's the difference between an asset and a liability?
So an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, whether you work or not.
So not a car. That's a lot.
Because a car, you drive it off the lot, immediately depreciates. You could make the argument that some collectible cars could work, but now you're in the hobby.
That's niche.
And
it's niche.
It's very niche, and it still ends up being very expensive. So when I talk to my friends that are like, well, maybe you could make the car thing worth, they're like, no, dude, like I know my way around vehicles inside and out, and let me tell you, like, you're going to end up spending way more. So those are a hobby.
Right.
I want to say. Now, maybe if you owned like a Model T that like was the first one that came off the lot and it has 1 mile on the speedometer and it belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Very rare,
but then
rare
you're gonna
one.
end up spending a lot of money just to keep that safe.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, so cars, certainly a liability because the second you drive off the lot, loses $5,000 to $10,000.
What about like jewelry?
Jewelry. So jewelry,
diamonds.
Generally, diamonds I don't like because they're pressed carbon. What I mean by that is diamonds are not scarce, you guys. And a feature of value comes from scarcity. Like the reason we like gold is it's scarce, portable, fungible, divisible, tangible, useful, indestructible. Diamonds are not scarce at all. Like they're carbon. They're pressed carbon. So actually, diamonds have this weird artificial scarcity thing going on where it's like the people that are controlling that market. Guys, I would not consider diamonds.
Okay.
I just wouldn't. Now, if you had some collectible diamonds or, maybe hold on to
like
that
a one-off, like blue diamond or something.
Yeah. Like maybe don't run out and just sell it because you don't like diamonds.
It's a family heirloom.
Treasures. Treasure is treasure. But those are thinly traded markets. Like if you were to look at the diamond market, the volume is going to be very low. It's going to be hard to also find buyers. Like they're just thinner markets. So you're going to need to be on the inside. It's going to be like selling collectibles in that you really need to match up the buyer and seller well. Whereas gold would be great because gold you could just take right down the street to anybody and you're not going to need to haggle with them over what it gets sold for because they get the spot price.
Right. Even if it's gold jewelry.
So and when you say gold jewelry, do you consider that an asset? I do. The only problem with gold jewelry is on the front end, the premium you pay to get it.
Like a Cartier bracelet.
Like a Cartier bracelet. Beautiful. Certainly family treasure. Certainly in 80 to 100 years, your great-great-granddaughter would love to wear it kind of thing. So definitely family treasure and definitely acquire those kind of things and maybe keep them in the family. But
it's not going to make you as much money.
It's going to make you money. Yeah, not really. Because when I look at a Cartier bracelet, I can calculate in my head how much the
gold is worth and
probably
like how much gold is actually in the bracelet versus.
So it's $700 worth of gold in the actual bracelet. You're paying $10,000,
$10,000,
right, for it. You're gonna need to wait eons to get to a point where
your great granddaughter.
But is it
eons?
But is it valuable?
Sure,
is it treasure? And is it gold? And is gold money? Yeah, so that would work.
But those are things I like to lay out because I think there's a lot of, especially, females that are like, oh, I'm buying this because it's an investment piece. It's jewelry, and it's like, yeah, but babe, like maybe not the best piece
so
of
you
jewelry.
Can do gold bullion. You can do like the coins and bars. That helps get you a little bit closer to spot and avoid those premiums. And gold is very liquid. So if you gave me an obscure blood diamond, it might take me 2 weeks to sell that.
Right.
But gold is the fourth most liquid asset class, meaning it's pretty easy to sell. It's not as easy as it's not. Stocks is very liquid because it's literally click buy, click sell. You're in, you're out. Gold is a little bit more involved in that. You need to go to like a bullion dealer, but believe me, they're closer to you than you think. There's probably one on your Google Maps within 4 or 5 miles of where you're living right now. So if you ever needed to buy gold or sell gold,
it wouldn't be as hard as like trying to sell like one of your trading cards or something.
Right.
Like
if you want to sell gold today, you can get sold.
Or even art.
You can get it sold.
Because
art's tricky.
Right. Art. I was going to say
like gold's
it has to be appraised.
Thinner markets, less volume.
Right.
Art's also not fungible, meaning fungible is every coin is kind of the same.
I wrote that.
Yeah. Okay.
I took notes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So fungible is, if we all have like a 1 ounce gold coin, they're all pretty interchangeable. You know, that's the whole. A dollar bill is very fungible because I don't care about this dollar bill versus the dollar bill in your wallet. It's a dollar bill is a dollar bill. Fungible, you know, things become less fungible when it's like one original art piece, like this art right over here on the wall. Only one of them. So it's non-fungible.
Like an NFT would be non-fungible,
which is what NFT
which made sense, right? That's why I was like, oh, non-fungible token.
And why is it not fungible? Because the NFT is unique.
Yeah, it's like a one of one or art.
It's like internet art.
Interesting.
It's
anyway, so I didn't mean to catch you back up. I was like, I know that word.
No, that's a good word to know. So any sound money is portable, fungible, tangible, useful, scarce, indestructible. Pretty much covered it. Gold covers all those, so it hits the it's the gold standard, which is funny how those phrases get actually woven like, into
but then so what about Bitcoin then, because that's not necessarily tangible.
It's not, right. So Bitcoin falls short of the gold standard for sound money. Bitcoin falls short of sound money in a few areas, like tangible. It's also not indestructible. Believe it or not, gold's indestructible.
Okay,
meaning so you can like melt gold into copper and all these other weird metals. You can melt it right back out.
Okay,
you can also hammer away, crush gold. You can't destroy gold.
Interesting.
You can't heat it up to the point where the atoms break down.
Destroy
it. You cannot. It's
I didn't know that.
Put it this way: if you have a gold coin and you dropped it into a river, you can come back 10,000 years later and it's still shining.
Yeah.
It doesn't
even corrode.
It does not corrode, which is why. So if gold were more common, we would use gold in everything because it is the best metal.
That's the best.
But we use it as sound money because it's scarce. We can't really get a lot of it. But you're in plumbing. I mean, if we could, we would use it. We'd use gold for all of plumbing.
Yeah,
it would be like the best one. But
that'd be amazing.
It's too scarce.
Yeah, that'd be
so if we lived on a planet where it was super abundant, we wouldn't use tin and aluminum and
PVC.
We would use.
But then it also wouldn't be as valuable because it's not scarce.
Right.
Yeah.
And gold is so scarce that we chose it to be the money, essentially.
Yeah.
And it was a decision, but we tried seashells, we tried feathers. Like if you think about it, we've tried it as money, but gold always
just
won.
held.
And I mean, we're talking, it's biblical.
Right.
Bitcoin has been a bit of a paradigm shift, but guys, I'm with it. Right? I love Bitcoin.
That's I think our next segue, because I mean, right now that's just like I feel like it's like one of those hot words, like it's like a hot topic.
Yeah, it is a hot topic, and it is
for sure.
But the sentimental is still not. I mean, you said the fear greed index.
It's not going. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
But yeah, I'm talking about like, because even my parents just basically when it hit 100K were asking me about it again, and they didn't ask me about it until last time it was at 20K in 2020.
Yeah, that's how
you know what I mean. So it's like the society still isn't talking about it at large.
There. Like when I posted, because Ryan has gotten me more interested, obviously now in cryptos. You guys have, and like I've learned a little bit about Bitcoin, and so I posted that thing like it hit 100,000, and everyone's like, "What does that even mean?" And that's what sparked my interest to do this, because I was like, "Oh wow." There's a lot of people that have literally no idea still like what's happening.
So Bitcoin today is kind of like the internet stocks where they were definitely they were disruptive.
Right.
Like it was creating waves. People were certainly getting rich off it. But just like in the early internet days, we didn't really know how to value pets.com. We didn't really know how to value these internet and these really novel tech companies. And that's kind of what happened with crypto. People were like, okay, I know this is disruptive. I know this probably isn't going away overnight. I know there's probably a there, but I just don't know how to value it. I don't know how to put a price tag on it. And one of the features of crypto that makes it so interesting is the technology behind it makes it like you can't hack it,
Yeah.
And so really that was cryptographers go back to World War II.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that really had the vested interest. I mean, we had crypto on our radios in the Marine Corps. Remember that? Crypto? That's to keep the enemy from listening in on your radio.
And we had to change it.
We had to do crypto rollover. We had to change crypto all the time. And so really it started with the military trying to do code breaking or preventing their codes from being broken.
Okay.
And that's kind of where cryptology got its start.
Okay.
And it was probably a government thing, just like the internet was. Because, the internet started in, I believe, 93 or 94. And it was the Pentagon. And the internet was really just a place to kind of centralize information for the U.S. government.
Right.
It was only later on in the 90s that we were like, oh, we can
use
log on
this.
from home and then order things online, you know,
And
things
screw
like
with
that.
the rest of the world.
Yeah, and talk
Yeah.
to each other and
Yeah.
kind of bring the world together.
Yeah.
So I think, and you know, I suspect crypto. We don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder, is, but I suspect it could be the NSA.
That's what. So I guess that was my next thing I wanted to ask.
There
Like,
you go.
cryptocurrency, like we know it's like like fungible, right?
Yeah, they are fungible.
But
what that means is if you have a Bitcoin, I have a Bitcoin, we can trade.
We can trade them.
And it won't matter.
Right.
Like if I give you my Bitcoin and you give Ryan his Bitcoin, is a Bitcoin.
Right.
That's all fungible means.
Right.
They're all the same.
But it is kind of weird because it's like, again, it's like internet money, right? It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
It's like it's mined. It was made by a mystery man, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
wild,
so
isn't
it's
it?
like
It's
really
wild.
weird,
Yeah.
you know. So when someone explains this to someone for the first time, you're like, I was just skepticism was like through the roof.
And
I was like,
it's a paradigm shift too,
what?
because everyone thinks in terms of dollars. So they don't understand, like, they don't know how to like get away from the dollar paradigm.
right,
So to be like, well, okay, you have dollars in your bank account in real material human world, but you
Right.
can also have a currency that's not dollars
right,
in the internet
Right.
on your computer,
Right.
and then you can use that.
use
So
that
people
too.
feel like they're circumventing some kind of
Yeah.
system, and just
Yeah.
you know that it's just a total paradigm change, you know. And so I think that caught a lot of people off guard. They weren't really ready for that. And there were a lot of times, guys, where we kind of wondered, like, well, maybe this could be it. Like, maybe Bitcoin is going to fail. Maybe Bitcoin is going to fail. There was the fork wars between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin. There were all sorts of points along the way where Bitcoin could have been compromised and could have failed. But it's passed every test.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we're getting to the point now where it's not really a baby speculative asset anymore. It's more like a young adolescent. It's about 16 years old. You know,
Right.
a lot of these boomers been calling, well, and millennials too. You know, I'm not even going after the boomers here. Been calling a Bitcoin a bubble. It's a bubble. It's a bubble.
Yeah.
It's a bubble.
Well, it seems like a fad. Like I said, it's kind of like one of those
well,
fad
it's a
words right now.
16-year-old fad now.
Right.
So I think people are starting to come around to the
Yeah,
idea that
yeah.
it's
But
not
no
a
one
bubble.
even, I don't even think a lot up until probably the past, I'd say 5 years maybe.
COVID really
even knew what that
COVID
name,
sped it
what
up.
the word was. Yeah, like Bitcoin wasn't even like a word.
Yeah,
that
it wasn't
was-
really in the mainstream. I probably first heard about it in 2011.
Yeah.
Didn't buy it. Kind of not really a believer.
Mhm.
I remember when it bubbled up the first time to about 17,000, and then everybody kind of wanted their BMW at the same time or whatever, so they all sold. And that was just that first bubble in Bitcoin was just retailers, meaning it was just individuals. It was just cyberpunks, crypto people, you know.
So this guy, I'm sorry to cut you up, but the guy
Yeah.
who created it, like, do you know how he like got the buzz around to people? Like how he got
Chat
people excited about this? It was like Reddit or something. He just told people, yo, I'm creating this new currency and it's going to be digital and I'm going to
yeah, so
mine it.
so
Like did they know what that meant? Did anyone even know what mining meant? He just made that word up and just
yeah,
said,
so
I'm gonna...
people have been trying since the 90s to create a
Peer-to-peer.
peer-to-peer
money
cryptocurrencies.
currency.
Yeah, they've been trying to do that for a while. There was like all sorts of different cryptocurrencies that attempted even before Bitcoin. I can't remember, like digital cash or
Yeah, I was reading there was a couple.
there was a few.
Right. I was reading about them.
There was maybe like 20 of these
Mhm.
things, but they were all running into problems, whether it's like the general's dilemma or the double spend problem, or there were all these like weird little problems that were standing in the way of
People like were
having
not
a digital
trusting
currency
them.
finally work.
Oh,
But
okay.
Satoshi got it to work. And Satoshi, who people think is an individual, I think it's a group. I think it's
It
12
has to
people.
be.
I think it's like 12 people. I think it's probably 12 to 20 people. 12 of them are in the NSA.
There's
8 of them
nothing
work
this
at Google.
powerful and
Yeah.
big
Kind of thing.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's collaborative. There's no
Yeah,
way
I
one
think
brain.
it's a group. I don't think it's one guy.
And that's my opinion.
I think it's a group. That's also just my opinion.
Yeah.
We're all speculating here. But I think, you know, Satoshi Nakamoto, this is also, guys, you might might be thinking, why
What
does it
kind
even
of
matter?
name is that?
But
Satoshi Yasha.
Satoshi
Satoshi
Nakamoto.
Yeah, maybe
Sounds
it
like
was a
a-
guy in Japan, right? Is the idea?
Sounds like Tamagotchi's sister or something.
Maybe it's it
Sister.
wasn't called an anagram where you can rearrange the letters and it says something else.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's called
Like
an anagram.
decode
But I
the
don't
name.
know.
Satoshi
but maybe
would be a hard
also
one.
Satoshi Nakamoto is a name because maybe there was 2 companies that were working on it and they just jumbled the letter. Who knows?
I don't want to get
But
into
do
it.
I think
That's
it's
so
one
weird?
person? No, I think it's
Yeah.
a group of people. And it is important that we have this conversation, though, because Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet is holding 10% of the Bitcoin supply,
Yeah.
which if the market cap is 2 trillion right now, what's 10%? Like,
I don't even know what this
we're
means.
talking about,
200
like,
billion.
we're talking about like a lot. Yeah. What would
So can you explain what the
200
market
billion,
cap is really
I think.
quick? What's the
Yeah.
market cap?
What's 10% of 2 trillion? 200 billion.
Yeah, because I think 2 billion
Yeah.
is 1%, right?
Yeah. So market cap is the size of the pot. Like if we were playing a poker game.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
it's
That's
the-
what I
it's
how
the
thought.
size of the pot.
much
Right.
So
okay.
if the
just wanna
market
make
cap
sure.
of Amazon is, which I'm sure it's about $1 trillion, that's the total of all their assets on balance sheet. It's like everything.
It's like,
It's how many outstanding shares there are, and what the price.
How
is
many
of each
coins
share.
are out there?
18 to 21 million, right? Isn't it 21 million?
yeah,
Okay.
21 million is the
is the
Bitcoin
cap.
supply, but there's still going to be mining. So there's a few thousand left.
Well, isn't the mining supposed to?
It's
I think
almost pretty much
there's
over.
only like a couple million left. I think
So
there's
my
only 2
understanding
million
is
left.
there's 1 or 2. Yeah, there's like
The
a
whole
couple million left, but
mining
it's going to
thing
take
is
like
weird.
150 years.
I don't think. I thought it was only going to take until like 2050 or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it's going to go.
What are they
for
doing when they're
little bit longer
mining?
than
What are
that.
they doing? Coding?
So what you're doing is you're solving a problem on your computer. Basically, if you were to mine like this laptop right here, back in the day, it could have mined Bitcoin because the problems were simple to solve. So the way Bitcoin works is it starts as a very difficult math problem. Like imagine a really long
Yeah,
math
like a quantum physics
so,
thing.
So this is how you're gonna mine the first Bitcoin. What's 1 + 1? 2.
Mm.
Bink. What's 1 + 1 × 3? And then
It
solve
gives-
that. Bink. And then we're at the point now where
It's
as
like
they mine more, it requires more
very
energy,
a lot of detail.
more input.
Yeah.
So now the algorithm to unlock 1 Bitcoin would take, for a miner to unlock it takes so much
It
computing
takes a
power.
plant.
So
Yeah.
this
it
guy
takes a
made the
ton.
algorithm, and the miner's job is to crack the code.
To solve little math problems
Just
to
math
unlock new
problems.
Bitcoin.
This is
Right.
like I
And
feel
they're
like I'm
all
on a
racing
game
against
show.
the other. They're all racing
So
against
this
the other
guy did
computers
this,
trying to
like,
do the
literally-
same thing. So there's no guarantee that
So
you're
he
going to
did
solve
it
the
to,
math
like-
problem and unlock the Bitcoin, because I might
Who's
be
keeping
competing.
all the math problems that are being solved?
Yeah, he's like only the strongest survive.
but the
It-
actual answers.
The math problems get increasingly difficult as time.
I know,
you
but is there some
imagine-
guy that's gathering all these fucking answers to these math problems that these computers are cracking for Bitcoin?
Is there
When
like
you
a-
answer, it unlocks
A
you
Bitcoin.
mind of a
Is there like a
Bitcoin.
list?
I know,
But I
but
don't
where
know.
does the
Yeah.
answer go?
Are the miners public?
I'm sure if you wanted to
Like, can you look up the top
all
miner?
of that is transparent, and that's one of the cool things about Bitcoin.
Are they just math nerds?
I mean, there's a lot of those for sure.
Like
For
what do you?
sure.
Is there a website you log on and you can just start like trying to figure
you
it
can
out?
Get into it if you want. So you're gonna need to buy a miner. You're
All
gonna
right,
need to
here I
buy a
go.
rig. You're gonna need to buy a rig. You're gonna
This is
need to
gonna be
buy
my
the correct
next-
hardware and software to solve those algorithms. And as time goes on, those algorithms get harder and harder to
This
solve.
might be
so you
my
need a
life's
bigger-
work is to mine a Bitcoin.
You should try it. You could.
What if I did it?
Go for it. It's very
I
competitive.
would feel like
now,
I
though.
cracked the matrix.
Yeah, it's very competitive.
It's
I bet.
I have friends
Everyone would be
I have
doing
friends
it.
that mind.
It'd be
them,
like
though. They
podcasting.
would be great to bring
Yeah.
on here. And I remember going into their apartment, and it was like 88 degrees in there because they're running all this, in insane hardware and software. So they're like cooling things with fans. They're like trying to keep their apartment from going over 90
For
degrees.
what? Just to type in some
It's
equations?
solving
no
problems.
They're not typing.
Oh, the computers are
The
solving them?
computers solving. them.
No, no, no. I
it-
want to use my brain. To figure
Oh
it out.
no. It would take 1,000
That's-
people.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what
Who's
I'm saying.
collecting
Never
all the
solve.
answers that the computers are getting?
You know, it's a
So
good
yeah,
question.
he mines.
So your computer just needs to be
that's what I'm
smarter
saying.
than the other
NSA,
computer?
dude.
That's part of it.
So you have
It
to like build
certainly
a
helps. Your
computer?
energy input certainly has. it increases the odds that you're going to be able to unlock the block.
So is it like a slot machine? And you're like, ding, 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 and then it like hits one.
There
and it's
is an element. There
You
is
just,
an
like, win.
element of luck involved in unlocking.
How do you know when you get one? Does it tell you?
It would tell you. I don't mind the stuff. I buy
Well,
it.
I'm just trying to figure this out.
But yeah, it would tell you.
I would-
Basically, Brittany, you'd put a really large piece of hardware in the corner of the room, making a lot of noise with a lot of cooling fans,
and it just tells
and
you when you won.
Yeah.
All right, how do I get this equipment?
Imagine like watching a computer screen and you're watching Pac-Man play itself, and every time you win, it says "do do do winner."
Yeah,
and
that's what I imagine.
And then each level gets harder and harder and harder for the rest of time.
But you're not doing it. The computer is. So
Exactly. But that's what he's saying.
there.
You need a lot of energy input.
You need like a lot of money and computers.
Yeah. Well, because people have like.
You don't need a brain.
Like,
you just need a good
the
computer.
real Bitcoin
you
miners,
need like the most money with the best computer.
Yeah, you need to be like a billionaire to open up a mining
Bitcoin miners that are really smoking everybody else are the ones that go to countries where energy is really, really cheap, because it's all a function of energy. So you're gonna
build like a
Brittany, if you wanted to compete, you would have a hard time because you would set up your mining rig in the corner of this room right here. Then you would get your SRP bill.
How much are they mining?
Then you would get your SRP bill, and it'd be like, well, here's your $2,000
if you're
energy bill.
Setting up
and you'd
be
competing with me in Indonesia. And
but
I'm
if you're
well,
setting up a warehouse with that many computers,
which
how many coins are you mining? Better be more than one.
A lot of miners go under. A lot of miners don't make it.
Yeah,
miners go under. How many gold miners make it? So here's one cool thing about sound money, like Bitcoin or gold. Sound money is terrible to the person trying to find it, and it's wonderful to the person holding it. So, just like you're saying, well, this Bitcoin mining thing sounds really difficult. How about I give you a shovel? Because there's gold. There's gold in Estrella Mountain.
Yeah.
There's gold in Estrella. So
go find it.
Go find it. You would come back. You'd be like, "This is horrible," and I'd be like, "Yes, welcome to mining. It's terrible for the person trying to get it, and it's wonderful for the person that can just buy and have."
Yeah,
but that was well said.
If I had just like $1 billion laying around, I'd be mining all day long.
No, I wouldn't. If I had $1 billion, I would buy Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, that's true.
If I had $1 billion, I'd put it in Bitcoin.
Well, then why are these people doing it?
Because they think it's profitable.
There's reward.
Because they could also just keep the Bitcoin in, and people keep,
and they want to mine it.
And people keep, and if people keep buying it, and the prices keeps going
for the
up.
love of
somebody
mining?
will do it.
They don't have to sell all the ones that they're mining. They could keep some since the price.
Somebody's out there digging holes for gold.
We are getting in a rabbit hole, but this is insane. This is actually the insane part about it.
It's the wild, wild west.
It is the wild, wild west.
And now people are gonna be like, I'm definitely not investing in this shit. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, and it's not, and well, I will say this: Bitcoin's not really an investment. So how about them apples? With an investment, it's money. You're just buying the thing.
I'm learning.
But we don't really need to get too much into that. With an investment, though, I want counterparty. So an investment would be Brittany's got this idea for a product that she wants to sell. She has all these ideas. This is how she's going to break into the market. I'm going to give her $1,000
in her company.
She's going to pay me back the $1,000 slowly over time plus interest. That's interest.
You're just buying it.
That's investing.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin
is not,
because there's nobody on the other side. You're just buying the thing.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I do understand.
So you're not really investing when you buy gold. You're not really investing when you buy art. You're kind of investing with art because I guess the counterparty is the artist.
The artist.
So if the artist does really well, you might appreciate.
Yeah.
So art could be seen as an investment. Stock certainly an investment. Bonds certainly an investment, even though kind of a lame one.
So like what my grandma got me when I was like 5.
Yeah, that's what the grandmas do. They give you the bond.
They're not out on the frontier.
You sell it long before maturity. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So the bond market is just the debt market. The whole idea there is you're just in the business of loaning money to people.
Right.
Whether it be like if you buy treasury bills, you're just loaning money to the federal government, and then they're paying you back plus interest. So you're in the game of loaning money.
It's safe though. That is something that is really safe. I do. It's like just having a couple bonds, like just.
Yeah, sure. So I would say if your net worth gets over $5 million, you're going to want to own some percentage of bonds. I'd say maybe 10 or 20%. And the whole idea there is you're not going to lose money.
Yeah, it's just
because you don't want to you don't want to have a $10 million portfolio and then you're all in equity, because if you go into a recession, you're going to be like, I just went from 10 million to 3 million. Like,
Right.
that hurt.
Yeah,
That
no.
physically sucked.
I'll never recover.
I'm never gonna
Probably
financially
not a good
recover from this.
situation.
So bonds help you to not lose money. Traditionally, they'll tell you 60-40, meaning your portfolio should be 60% stocks, 40% bonds for a well-balanced portfolio. But as time goes on,
Where are the
and
cryptos
dollar
fall
gets
into play now?
about 1% or less. Gold, they'd say 2%, 1%.
Okay.
They wouldn't want you to be no licensed fiduciary or financial advisor would want you to be over, say, like 5 or 10%
I
gold.
listened to
or
this
Bitcoin.
podcast. So the guy I've talked around about it, the guy was like all in on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like he's like 100% Bitcoin.
So
Like, that's-
traditional finance would say go 1% Bitcoin, but there are people called Bitcoin maxis
Yeah.
Maximus.
because it's a bit of a cult in that respect.
Maximus.
Some people are just like, look, the dollar's cooked. I've already
Yeah.
made the paradigm change away from paper fiat government issue currency.
That they
So I'm
just keep
gonna go
printing.
100%.
It's so crazy,
I'm
but
just
I was
gonna
like,
Stealing our purchasing power.
100%.
that podcast was the guy who he was so gung ho on Bitcoin that he made me excited. But I was like, this guy's insane. But I was like,
Mhm.
wow, he really,
So when she sent-
really
There's a
believes
She
in
sent
this.
me money to
Yeah.
invest in Bitcoin. I was
Yeah.
So what
like,
I would
let's
recommend
do it.
doing is just spend like 10 hours studying it.
Yeah, and so that was my question. One, resources on where you can learn, but then also, how do you even start an account? What are some places where you can buy?
There's a
Cryptocurrencies
book
on?
you could check out called The Bitcoin Standard.
Okay, I was on Bitcoin for
Um,
Dummies earlier, so
so
that
that-
also is pretty good.
Yeah, so I would read probably The Bitcoin Standard. I would check out Michael Saylor. There's a podcast. You can just type it in the search window. Michael Saylor. Just type in masterclass in economic calculation, Michael Saylor. He'll tell you, Michael Saylor was really the first dude to realize I can use Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. So instead of treating Bitcoin like it's this weird alternative speculative investment that I'm going to have a small piece of my portfolio, he was one of the first guys to go out there and be like, I have a company. The company has 500 million in cash. COVID is going on. I'm going to lose 15% on this cash every year, compounded indefinitely.
Mhm.
Fed's cutting rates, dollars cooked. I'm going to convert my $500 million treasury into Bitcoin. He was
Mhm.
like the first guy that did
Mhm.
that. And
It's been
he's
up
gone to the
and
moon.
ever since.
Yeah. He's on his company MicroStrategy is on its way to the $1 trillion club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of success stories, and I also hear of a lot of larger, even corporations now buying Bitcoins. I mean,
Yeah.
aren't banks buying Bitcoins?
Yeah,
Yes.
so Microsoft just had a vote on it, although they voted we're
So,
not going to do
I
it.
feel like
but
it's a much
still
safer.
early.
yeah, institutions
It's early,
are
but
in the
it's
room.
safer now than it probably ever has
So
been.
BlackRock showed up in, I would say, October of 2020. So a few months after COVID, right after the CARES Act, BlackRock entered the room and has never left. And once BlackRock got in there, because that's the real shadow government. I mean, honestly.
And can you explain?
Trillion
Can you
in
explain
assets
what
under
BlackRock is?
So BlackRock started out, well, CEO's Larry Fink. BlackRock started out in the 80s as
Maybe don't
just-
name the CEO. He might end up on the street.
oh, no.
No,
Just
everyone,
kidding.
no,
Sorry.
he should be named.
CEO's
No.
name is Larry Fink.
Yeah, Larry
guys.
Fink.
So-
Luigi's in
Larry
prison,
Fink's the real
okay.
president. He's the real president of the United States. He's got 10 trillion in assets under management.
Don't get him started. Oh God.
Yeah, you
Get
want
him
to go down
started.
the conspiracy
No, I
rabbit
don't.
hole?
Yeah,
But I
That
do-
guy's running the world.
Yeah.
But I do want people to know who you're talking about, or like what
BlackRock
that is.
started out as just an asset manager in the 80s. So just picture like, I don't know, 5 or 6 smart dudes managing their own capital. And then it's grown now to the point that they own a 5% stake in the S&P 500. So any S&P 500 component, Google, Amazon, NVIDIA, they probably own 5 to 6% of the outstanding shares of all the biggest companies, Home Depot,
How did they
Tesla.
get those shares? They just kept buying. They just kept buying and buying.
Yeah, it's shady. So their
was-
market cap is only basically the total assets they have on balance sheet would only be $150 billion in your stock app. That's what it'll tell you BlackRock's worth is $150 billion, but they manage well over 10 trillion.
Yeah.
So
Is it like a grandfathered group of
they're the
individuals?
guys behind the curtain, okay? But here's
Do
the
we
thing,
know
it's
their
not just
names?
Larry
Larry Fink.
Larry Fink.
But who else? I don't need to
his
know all their
board
names.
members.
But
look up the
yeah.
board of directors
So they're all
for
well
BlackRock.
known
But here's the
people.
other thing: it's not just BlackRock, so we'll go easy on them. Vanguard is kind of the
Okay.
other side of the table.
Mhm.
So it would be like if you own 20% of the world and I own the other 20% of the world, and then everybody else is going to own the other 60, but we're going to underwrite each other.
Yeah,
we're underwriting each other.
okay.
So if
We're the
you
ones that are
fail-
really doing
if
the
you
most work.
fail, you bail, I bail
Yeah.
you out. If I fail,
Right.
you
We
bail
got
me
each
out.
other.
So it's kind of like Verizon and AT&T being like, we got them all, buddy.
Yeah.
Like,
don't worry.
you want to use my towers? Like,
yeah.
they're all our customers.
They're all ours.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
between Vanguard and BlackRock, that's pretty much who owns and runs the world. And you might be like, no, it's Amazon or it's Apple. Or, well, look at the majority shareholder of Microsoft or Amazon. You'll find it's either Vanguard or BlackRock.
They
Those
hold
people
more
own the
shares
world.
than besides the company themselves. You're saying besides
Yeah.
the actual company themselves, it's usually BlackRock. that
Yeah,
will-
but BlackRock has
So do they
immense
go-
control over those companies.
do they go
so if
to-
BlackRock doesn't like something that Google's doing,
then they can
Google's
say
going
like,
to listen.
interesting. Who invest or when they need investors? Do they call up BlackRock and they're like, hey, I've got this company, and then BlackRock's just like, okay,
For sure.
we're gonna just
Yeah,
decide to
for
invest
sure.
in you or not. That's kind of how that works.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
they're
then
just
and
at
then
their
when they
asset
like a company, they
managers.
just buy like most
Yeah,
the
there you go.
shares. They're
Yeah,
like, we're just
and
gonna
control the outcome.
control
so they'll
you
buy
now.
most of the shares and fire the people in that
Right.
company they don't like.
I
mean,
understand.
that's a lot of it too.
Yeah.
And they don't want you to know that they're running the world.
Sure.
Like, so that's why
Yeah,
Larry
it's like-
Fink is not all over your newsfeed.
Right. It's like you think Apple's running
wants
the
to
show,
be
but
kinda
they
hidden.
are actually being run by probably
Unless
other
you're like
powers
Larry
than
Fink.
me.
Trump
ETF.
is run by Larry Fink. And
I see what
really?
you're saying
All right,
now.
so I'm gonna
We're going. We're
Go.
getting. We're going.
Go.
we're going down
there.
into the
Go.
weeds, but
no.
we got
Oh,
we
no.
got Larry Fink, who runs BlackRock. We have Janet Yellen, who's the Treasury Secretary. Jamie Dimon, who runs J.P. Morgan. Jerome Powell, the Chairman of the Federal Reserve. These are the people that call the shots. The politicians.
Are we gonna get shot after we have this? After I air this podcast,
Maybe.
like, is someone gonna come?
No,
for us?
I don't think. I think you're going to be
No.
okay.
Okay, just
I
making
think
sure.
you're going to be okay.
All right.
Certainly, they haven't.
Lots
come
of people
for me
talk
yet.
about this, but everyone thinks it's conspiracy.
It's hidden right out. It's hidden in plain, view.
sight. Yep.
It's one of those.
I'm not.
things.
I'm just
It's
listening.
So if you wanted to, if I'm basically giving you the shortcut, I'm
Sure.
like, look, Larry,
do
Fink,
your own. Do your
Jerome Powell. Yeah, certainly do your
Make
own
your own
due diligence.
opinions.
Absolutely.
And I don't know everything. Not even close.
But these are some
Not-
things
not
that
even
some people
1%
might not
of
even know
1%.
that's going on.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the politicians.
Right.
All that politics runs way downstream. You got to go up. You got to go further upstream. You got to go to the headwaters.
Follow
you got to go
the
to the real
money.
source. And you got to follow the money. And if you keep going, you keep going, keep going, you're going to finally start running into Larry Fink, Jamie Dimon, Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen.
Right.
And these people do go on TV.
Yeah, of course.
So they're not like totally hidden. Like now
No.
that you know the name Jerome Powell, start looking for it and you'll start
See
noticing
him.
it everywhere.
Yeah.
Same with Janet Yellen.
But this is also a reminder that these people also are investing, and they have a lot of money, and they are also trusting. They're controlling it, but they're also trusting the stock market. So
Yeah.
anyone with money, even though
But it's
people
a
are,
rigged game.
it's a
very
rigged game,
It's not
but
so
it's
much
rigged in there.
trust.
It's, in my opinion, it's rigged for the
In their
rich to
favor.
always win.
100%.
So
'Cause
if
they're
you're
controlling
even
it.
as a little peasant man or whatever,
Mhm.
like if you're like
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to invest into that big game, they're
Mhm.
never going to let it fail. Like there's
No.
no way they're going to
They're
let
right.
it fail.
And that's a big moral hazard is the whole idea of too big to fail. So every
Right.
time our economy
So just
does
rest
start
easy
to go
knowing
off the
that.
rails, these people come in and they'll
I don't even think
if
that's
you
a conspiracy
about
theory.
it,
I think that's just true.
it's
Like,
that's just well known.
Yeah.
I mean, remember in 2008 there was the too big to fail, and there was a big conversation around how many banks we should let fail, and should we really step in and bail these banks
Right.
out? And a lot of people were like, you should bail out the banking system or you shouldn't. And so, I mean, this debate has been going on forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the market is not free. You don't have a free market. It's completely controlled. It's a debt-based monetary system that requires more and more money be printed in perpetuity, currency, not money. More and more currency be printed in perpetuity just to remain where you are, never mind additional growth or productivity. So what I'm saying with that is we're printing $1 trillion this week. We're going to have to print
He's
2
preaching.
trillion next week. We're going to have to print 3 trillion next week. We're going to have to print 4 trillion the week after
Stone
that.
is so
Our
passionate
feet
about
are
this.
taped to the bike.
Just to stay
Just to
where
stay
we're
Just to stay where
afloat.
you are. Never mind growth or
yeah.
recession.
It's just
So
killing
it's
the
debt
currency.
based.
Yeah.
So we got to keep adding zeros to the game, and it's
Put the
becoming a total
exclamation
mess.
point on that.
That's why two venti
huge.
coffees at Starbucks is $20.
$20.
Yeah, there you go. And one day
Instead
you'll
of
say,
5.
I remember when these were 20 because now they're 40.
Yeah.
And that will happen.
Yeah.
Look into your hazy crystal ball. So
Listen to
they're
your
only-
crazy Uncle Mike.
They're only I'm the crazy Uncle Mike. So they're only printing more of this stuff, and that kind of makes cash a liability on the balance sheet. I mean, that's one of the reasons the rich, we've covered it earlier, they don't stay in cash. There may be 1% cash for a rainy day and an opportunity on short notice that they might want to buy or sell. But generally, cash is not. I mean, look, the real estate around here is going up insanely.
Yeah.
And that's just appreciation. Never mind like cash flowing because you're renting it out to somebody. You're literally just sitting on the house, and the house, even if you don't add any equity, the price just
it gets older and like worse,
and yet,
but the price goes up.
Right. And that's kind of the problem you have with the debt-based monetary system. Because in 1971, we were gold backed. So before 1971, you could take your dollars to the bank and exchange them for gold. You can walk in with a 20 and walk out with a gold coin.
Right. Now you cannot do that.
You walk in with a 20, it's worth.
And how much? And what was like minimum wage when they were paying people
$1.50, $1.25.
No, when they were paying people in gold. Like I remember you telling me something. Like,
I can do that math for you.
An ounce a week was minimum wage or something.
All right, well, put it like this. So pre-1971, an ounce of gold cost $35 US. Minimum wage at the time was about $1.25, $1.50. That means roughly you work a 40-hour work week, you can buy 1 ounce gold coin.
Yeah.
So you work 35 hours at $1 an hour, you get $35 for the week. Gold's $35 an ounce. You could get 1 ounce of gold. Well, today gold's $2,600. So how many minimum wage jobs are paying $2,600 a week? None. And that's the problem. That's the labor being stolen from you. So minimum wage today, to keep up with 1970s minimum wage today would need to be paying in the ballpark of $2,800, $2,700 a week. And it's $400, or what is it?
Yeah, it's bad. I don't know what it is. Really,
$11.
I think it's like 15,
500.
Yeah, I think it's 15 an hour here.
Okay, we'll do
15 times 40.
Yeah.
What would that need to be? What's the math if we were doing 20? Did you say around 2,800?
So you need to be at about $50 an hour today to be at 1970s minimum wage.
Yeah, so that'd be minimum wage.
Labor is just getting killed.
Yeah, that's
so the dollar is getting
and the only
killed.
reason why we can't raise minimum wage,
labor is also getting killed
because no one can afford to pay that minimum wage.
Well, no, yeah, that's insane.
No small businesses or any business, unless you're talking about the Mac 7 or Home Depot.
Even them,
they have to shut down a lot of locations, but no one can afford to pay
$50
especially mom and pop shops.
Yeah, but it's rough. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. But
if we were to raise minimum wage like that would only consolidate power for everybody working for them anyways. And then instead of going to Jimmy John's, you'd go to like Black Rock John's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're getting to a point now where you used to be able, this is basically the idea. You used to be able to work 30 hours, 40-hour work week full time, get an ounce of gold at the end of the week. Now you would get about a quarter of an ounce of gold, if that. Because the dollars you're getting, and even if you're getting more dollars, you turn around to buy something. Because here's the thing about gold. You might be like, well, why is gold the unit of account and the stable thing? Well, and I can answer that. Civilization grows at about 1% to 2% per year. And the gold supply inflates at about 1% to 2% per year. So it keeps it very stable. And isn't that interesting how if you were to take like just this neighborhood, like we'll call it 200 people, if you were to just leave the 200 people out in the forest, the growth rate would be about 1% to 2% per year. That's what civilization's done forever. And so if the group of people in the neighborhood out in the woods or whatever, the 200 people, if that civilization, we'll call it, the town, is growing at 1% to 2% per year, and we're also increasing the gold supply at about 1% to 2% per year, then you get a gold dollar and the price never changes. And that's why gold is like kind of the stable unit of account. But the dollar is not stable.
No. Is there a way for it to get back stable, in your opinion?
Well, what's interesting now is it looks like Trump and his administration are trying to like put us on some kind of Bitcoin standard. We're talking about like having a Bitcoin reserve. So that they're trying, they're flirting with the idea of pegging that dollar and pegging our economy to something more stable. Because the dollar in its current form is just so leaky.
Yeah.
They need to print more and print more and print more and print more. So there is a movement to address that.
Right.
And certain the Bitcoin maxis and the Bitcoin community are talking about those kinds of things all day. The gold community would be talking about that all day. But, you know, we're in a debt-based monetary system. So I just don't see that changing overnight. Like that would be a structural change.
And so that's the reason why people are buying Bitcoins essentially, right? It's because there's only so many Bitcoins. There is infinite amount of money currently. So like that's the whole reason
the
why
Fed
people
is
are
going to print in unlimited dollars.
This is when I'm looking for something. I always want to find like there's only one of it, like or you know, like because that's where I know it's going to hold value because it's cool, it's unique, whatever.
Bitcoin's cool because it's really stuck,
right?
You know, it's hard money. You cannot amend the amount of Bitcoin in circulation. There's nothing you can do to change.
I think that's why I liked the idea of Bitcoin is that it seemed like a rarity to me. Like not everyone can have one, and I wanted a piece of that like
For
rarity.
Sure. There's only 18 million.
Right.
21.
So that's I think the appeal
to be
to
one
me.
of 21 million in a 7-8 billion person world is pretty high class.
Right. And same with investing, but then you don't want to get too niche or too like rare because then if you buy too many things that are rare, sometimes the rarer things don't always equate to like the best. Or
sometimes the market's not there for it.
Right. It's 100%. Not always there for it. Exactly.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. If you have like a one of one
and you
thing.
definitely want to diversify. You definitely want to spread yourself around. You know, I would look at something like owning some crypto, then maybe some tech stocks, then maybe some energy stocks. So maybe like oil and natural gas or even nuclear or even solar. I mean, I don't dabble in solar or wind, but you could. I like some of the energy stocks like Chevron, Exxon, ConocoPhillips, Halliburton. You can look at that. But you don't want to just be in energy companies. So you're going to want to own a little bit of Amazon and Google and Nvidia,
commodities,
and Tesla, and then maybe you want to own a few ounces of gold, a few silver bars, you know, a Bitcoin or something like that. Maybe some Ethereum, maybe some Solana, maybe some fine art. You guys start some real estate, certainly real estate.
401k, shit, mutual
max
funds.
That thing out. You know, max out your 401k.
Even the little, those things
if they
are
do matching,
too.
Great, and hang on. You know, don't go.
Do you know about 529 plans at all? So I don't know much about them, so I'm not going to go too deep into them. But we do have 2 of them for our kids. Cool. They're like plans for your kids, and they're supposed to be, I believe, where you can take the money out tax free when they're school age, like 18, and they can use that for school or I believe in like a home or anything like that. And you can contribute up to, I want to say like, I don't know. It's like there's a certain amount you can put into it each year, but then it just compounds on itself.
And is it like taxed on the way in, and then when they finally cash it out, it's like tax free
something like that?
There's some sort of tax
incentive plan for your kid.
Yeah, it's like
awesome
with a higher return rate.
Certainly, I'm a fan of the 401ks. If you got a 401k, don't sell it. You know, if they have matching, that's great too.
Yep.
And the 401k is pretty passive too, because you don't need to like pick the stocks.
Those are the that's basically like hiring a financial advisor to sit there and just like do everything for you, because basically that's what they're going to do. Those big companies are just going to manage your funds, and you don't even really have to pick the funds.
And they're going to manage it better than you could. I mean, I'm not putting you down. But the guys upstairs kind of know how the system
may grow more slowly.
Look, guys,
but
we have
that bad.
We also just, you know, people think, oh, well, stocks are too volatile, or, you know, the market is too scary for me. But the fact of the matter is we have in this country an embedded growth obligation that the S&P 500 does about 6 to 12% per year. So if you're ever one of those people that's like, well, I think the market's going to crash. I think the market's going to crash. I think the market's going to crash. It doesn't really work.
That's what I said. They're never going to let that fail.
We have this embedded growth obligation. And even when we can't meet the embedded growth obligation for our institutions, which we can't, I mean, we're having demographic problems. Like we have an aging demographic in this country. You know, how many
birth rates slowing.
Yeah, exactly. You combine all those issues together, and you're kind of in a situation where all of our institutions in our country are predicated on an embedded growth obligation. But here's the catch. Even if we can't meet the embedded growth obligation, we're going to print the money, and then we're going to make sure we meet it. And that's kind of the problem with COVID and the CARES the CARES Act and all the
The
stimmies,
stimulus checks.
and there's going to be more.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to have another recession. Couldn't tell you if it's going to be 2028, 2032, but about every 10 years, 6 to 9 years or so, you go through a little recession. It only takes about 2 to 4 years. Don't lose your mind. You're going to want to buy that and stay long the market and ride out. Just
Yeah, buy on sale. That's something that I learned. At
Yeah.
first, I thought it was like something like, ew, I don't want to buy them
No,
right now, you know?
you do, yeah.
You
But if
know?
you look at your favorite stock, you'll find
You
the
wanna
low
buy it
point
on
and be like,
sale.
I could have bought there.
Yeah.
And
You
know
want to
what
get the
real-
Hermes
and the
bag
tricky
for 20%
part is-
off.
The real tricky part is the low point on a chart is where the least amount of people want
Or-
the asset,
Right.
and the high point on the chart
Is when they want
is
it.
when the most amount
Which
of people,
makes no
and your
sense.
job is to buy the low
Low.
point when the least amount of people want it,
Yeah.
and then sell the high
I
point when
found
the
that
most
out.
but that's an inversion.
Yeah.
It's a mind F.
It is,
right?
but at the same time,
But
again, I always go
lean
back to
into
that
that.
same mindset as like, listen, it's not going to fail.
Yeah.
I promise you. It would be probably the end of our society if the
Yeah.
stock
Well, they
market
be
failed.
mayhem in the
100%.
streets, but it's gonna fail sooner or later. 'Cause
So
we
one
can't
day
we can't.
there
we
will,
can't
guys.
print
I'm not
infinite
I don't think it'll be in our
dollars.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
so we could
Unless-
crash down.
Sure.
It's a possibility where you crash down, but I'm more concerned about we're crashing up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a reverse
To where
market.
What I'm
crash.
saying is there's no stock market. There's no instance in where the stock market's just going to just go
no,
away.
no,
Poof.
because
Yeah.
the system would implode, and then the
Yeah.
global economy would
We
implode.
would
Yeah.
implode. Yeah.
And if the choice is have the credit market freeze up, interest rates spike up, mortgage rates go up to 20%.
Yeah. Bad things-
If they had that choice, or just print money and control
Right.
mortgage rates and interest rates and bring those back down, they're just going to print the money,
Make life
which is
easier.
exactly why those interest rates, mortgage rates are just going lower,
Right.
down to the right, because
Right.
they have to, as this debt bubble gets larger and larger
Yeah.
and larger. Now, one day there will be a crash, I'm sure, and it'll look something like the 10-year yield and interest. So the 10-year yield will start to spike, and interest rates will start to spike, and that's going to be the debt bubble bursting, and that will cause a crash. But what's going to happen when that begins? The Fed's going to step in. They're going to do yield curve control. They're going to start actively managing interest rates and bond yields. And if they wanted to drive bond yields back down, all the Fed would need to do is print a bunch of dollars that didn't exist 5 minutes ago, turn around and buy the bond market with it, make the bond bubble fatter, and drive those bond yields lower. And that's kind of how
which increases the price of
guys,
everything.
they control the system.
so
Does that make
confused.
sense? They play
Yeah.
puppet master with the global economy.
Okay,
Yeah, but there
yeah,
has to be a
well-
point to where they won't be able to print enough money.
Yeah, like it'll be really interesting, but I think they're going to just
That's
print
why they
more
need
money, and
find
we're going
this
to
new
crash
system.
up. I'm worried more about hyperinflation than I am deflation. So for me, what would be the worst thing would be you keep going to your job that
I'm
pays
sorry.
$20 an hour.
What? I'm just kidding.
This
To
is
me,
so
You're
to me,
interesting.
I'll just make this prediction,
Okay.
and then we'll start wrapping things up. The real problem going forward for the United States and really the global economy,
The whole world.
it's not deflation. Okay, so it's not you bought Google at $100 a share and it crashed to $10. I'm worried about Google going from $100 to $10,000 a share in a very short period of time while your wage doesn't change.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is now all the people that are holding the Google are extremely rich. All the people looking to buy the Google are completely priced out, and your $10 an hour job is not going to be able to buy enough $10,000 shares of Google.
Yeah, it's like
For-
only the
and this-
only
and-
the
and even-
company is making
And
money.
houses will crash up. So can you
Yeah.
imagine a situation where a
All
3-bedroom
asset
starter home
classes.
is 1.1 million
Yeah.
and
We're getting
minimum
there.
wage
A
is
double wide
$22?
is
It's like,
$750.
how am I? And the answer is you're not.
You're not.
Yeah.
And so now you've been priced out. Or a Bitcoin, which
We're
is
getting there
rapid.
already, which is sad. but-
What are we going to do when Bitcoin's 50,000? You just won't be able to get one.
yeah.
Yeah.
You won't. I just graduated college. My salary pays 50 grand a year. This house I want to buy is 800,000. The mortgage rate's on at 7%.
Yeah.
I
It's
need
just
to
not-
make,
the
like,
math's not mathing.
It's not mathing.
Yeah.
And so that's
Yeah.
and that's a reverse market crash. And that is how a lot of empires go down. Venezuela,
Right.
Weimar, Germany. You go to these other countries,
Mhm.
and it's not their markets crashed down and their currency became too valuable. It's their currencies are worth nothing. And the
Mhm.
markets have crashed up so badly that the street vendor making a few pesos can't buy the 50
It's the
million
poor countries.
peso house.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's, and now you're in a 2-tier society.
Right.
So that's where, when I look into my hazy crystal ball, I think that's ultimately where we're going. But hey, we're
We
just
gotta
gonna
try
have
to
to
fix
see
that. Or you can just invest and be on the
winning side
one-
of that.
the upper tier of the society.
I mean, so
We've got two
that,
options.
and that's yeah.
That's, in my opinion, that's my goal. I
Well,
mean,
and in 2020, that's what I said to do. I
Get
was
yours.
like, I'm really worried about the dollar, and I'm not worried about markets. And that's when I started buying my first Bitcoin at 10,400. And my tune really hasn't changed. And the same would go for the stock market. The stock market started to buckle there in 2020, like March, April 2020, things got a little freaky. But we quickly realized with the CARES Act adding 40% of the money supply that we weren't going to be looking at markets crashing down and the dollars
In a
becoming
recession and
it was
or
going to be
depression.
it was going to be
the
more
opposite.
like the opposite problem. And that's kind of where we're
The
going.
boom.
And if you want to know what I think the next few years is going to be like, more of that. So Bitcoin's going to be great for that. Stocks are going to be great for that, I think. But I could totally be wrong, you guys.
yeah, I mean,
And certainty is not a word that exists in the investing world.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, really, it's all about just doing your due diligence, doing what you feel is right, and it's a gamble. Hoping for the best.
It is a gamble.
But
it is.
expecting the worst and ultimately expecting for it to be a long game. Like, know that you're not putting your money in there to like go to a Vegas slot machine and double your money tomorrow. It's just not going to happen like that.
And we're not looking for
even
that.
Bitcoin, you see these crazy numbers right now. It didn't start or like multiply like that in like a
he was
week.
saying he bought his first buy was at 10,000.
Right. So
it's 10x, but that was like 5 years ago.
Right.
Sure. So
which is still extremely volatile.
Yes.
Wild ride.
Yes, like that. Anything in the Nasdaq or the Nasdaq or the S&P 500, they won't do that.
Yeah, let's take it back to what I was saying earlier. Pick dominant players in each industry. So,
diversify.
Target, even though retail is pretty freaky. Yeah. But if you told me I bought Target or I bought Walmart, good on you. If you told me about
McDonald's
Boeing,
or something,
sure.
Yeah.
McDonald's
Disney,
probably
Coca-Cola.
McDonald's probably owns more farmland than any other company.
You'd probably want to look into the farmers and try to invest in or like a fertilizer company.
McDonald's probably buys the most potatoes.
I was gonna say, yeah, like you want to look into like the think bigger.
They own
than
real
McDonald's.
estate. Think how much real estate they own.
That's true. Tons.
And I'm sure if you picked up, if you
I
looked
wonder
at the
who's
stock
their
price,
broker.
if you looked right now too at the stock price at McDonald's, I'm sure you'd be really surprised. You'd be like, dang, that thing only goes up and to the right, even though their food is poison and I stopped eating it years ago. But it's just kind of a function of they're the most dominant player in the fast food space. They probably had the most locations, even though I think Subway might have them beat. But you get the idea. There's a ton of them. They own a ton of ranch land, and like McDonald's, they own a bunch of property in Brazil.
Yeah.
Like,
so what you're saying is like those are safe, but I think what you're also saying is think outside the box. Like there's a lot of companies that help McDonald's run. That are also probably maybe on the
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a whole world of opportunity, you guys. I mean, everything, it's all around you. Everything in this room.
Doesn't have to be like the XYZ. It could be something that
it'd be great. And a lot of people just totally overlook it. You can look at a company like Procter and Gamble. All they do is make, and you might be thinking, well, I've never heard of that company. Oh, I promise you, it's most of the things under your sink right now. It's your paper towel. Yeah. It's your soap. It's your shampoo. They own like Downy and Ivory and Tide and Mr. Clean. Like, so you think, that Herbal Essence, that's a company. No, that's a brand owned by Procter and Gamble. And the more you look at it, the more you realize, dang, Procter and Gamble controls, all these brands. But then, like we were talking about earlier, you look up who the majority shareholder of Procter and Gamble is, and it's Larry Fink.
That's just the weirdest
thing.
Down
the rabbit hole we go.
Yeah. Right? Oh Lord. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did you know? Fun fact, and I'm sure you know this, but I taught Ryan something. That Standard and Poor 500. That's what the S&P stands for.
Did you know
the
that?
S&P 500?
I never knew that.
Stands for the Standard and Poor 500.
Yeah.
I go. Yeah.
I think is that somebody's like name though? Standard is important. I don't think it's like.
I thought it meant like
the measurement
standard poor people buy this. Buy these 500 companies.
I think like in the early 20th century, like we're talking like 1920 or 1930, it was probably a company or a guy or a
Yeah,
journal of
yeah.
sorts, and
It had to
just kind of
been.
been
It had
yeah,
to.
and it just kind of
It sounds way too ridiculous for it to
so
be.
all the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies,
Right. And that's what I always knew
That's
it
all
as.
it is,
Yeah.
But then I
and you
swiped
can buy
over.
S&P 500, and I'm
Yeah.
not against
So
doing
you
that.
can just
I
buy the
prefer
general.
NASDAQ.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a S&P 500 ETF.
A lot of people just buy indexes.
Mhm.
You know, you can buy just a transportation index, and
Yeah.
then you don't really care if Tesla is the future or not.
Yeah.
You're just in transportation. And if we're using horse and buggy, you're in horse, you know,
Yeah.
so you can index.
Interesting.
I don't like indexes though. I don't like ETFs.
What about
I like stocks.
what about
I
meme
like
coins?
companies.
Do you want to talk about the
I
Haktua
love
girl?
meme coins. Oh man, that was bad.
Real quick.
That happened in the last few days. That's
I
very
know,
fresh
that's
on a
why
lot
I
of
was-
people's mind. Dodge that landmine though. I did not get in on
You didn't
Bitcoin.
get her?
No. But yeah, she
that's his
created-
thing is these meme
she
coins. I feel
she
like.
rugged a lot of people.
Mhm.
So she launched a coin, and really it was
What are meme coins?
well, man, this is
It's a
crazy.
cryptocurrency,
So a
right?
meme, yeah, it's a subgroup. It's like a subgenre of cryptocurrency. So if you told me I'm super into crypto, that might mean I'm into Bitcoin and I'm only a Bitcoin guy. That might mean I'm into ETH, like Ethereum.
Yeah, like
that
the top
might mean
10.
I'm into ETH killers like Solana and Avalanche. Or
Mhm.
you could say I don't like any of that, but I really like meme coins, which is basically memes.
It's foolery, is what it is. Yeah, I feel like
It's more the slot machines of.
I love
they're
it.
like current day events or
I
things
love
that are
it.
popular in the news that get
I've
turned
been
into
buying Pepe since
cryptos.
day one, and that's
Yeah.
been amazing for me.
Yeah.
Like life changing.
So basically what this Haktua girl did is like she made a coin
Yeah.
because she's the Haktua girl.
Mm-hmm.
That was the name of the coin, right? Or whatever. Like that's how people were
Yeah.
buying it, is like they knew about
Yeah.
this chick.
Yeah.
And then she like screwed everyone over.
Yeah.
essentially.
So really, it's not even so much a meme coin; it's a celebrity meme coin. Because Caitlyn Jenner did the same thing.
Yep.
So they
James.
so they have someone.
Little Pump has a coin. I have
Oh my
Little
God.
Pump
So
token.
they have like a little nerd like make a coin.
Yeah.
And it holds a value somehow.
So
Or what
it doesn't
happens?
hold a value until they launch it, but as soon like
And it starts out at-
this is how we do Britney Coin.
Yeah,
The way
let's
we
do
set
one.
up Britney Coin is we're gonna have a max supply of 100. So this coin's actually there's not
Very
gonna
scarce.
be many of them.
Okay, cool.
So we're only gonna issue 100 of these, but we're gonna give you 20 of them.
All right.
Now there's only gonna be
80, yeah.
available for sale. Now imagine we go
Putting
on
it out
our
there on the
socials.
internet.
We go on our socials, and me and Ryan are like, "Oh, Britney Coin, we're about to launch this thing because we're gonna be your devs."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get some coins too.
You're like the
You're
plan.
you're gonna get 5. I'm gonna get 5.
Yep.
So now there's only 70 coins are now left because we started with 100. I'm getting 5. You're getting 5. You're getting 20. And then, but we're really a cabal, you know.
We just
in
want
this
people's
together.
money.
We just want people's money. So what the three of us are gonna do is we're going to put it out there on socials. You know, everyone loves Britney. She's so famous and
Mhm.
awesome. So there's already a line out the door to buy this coin. We're going to launch the coin, and within minutes, let's say the market cap, which is word we
It
touched on
just
earlier.
makes no sense. Like,
goes
why
to
would
100
someone want
million.
my coin just
It-
to try to make
well,
a quick dollar off of it?
So yeah, well, and maybe there's utility. Like maybe we say, oh well, if you own this coin, you'll be able to go to Britney's concerts for free.
I
or-
see.
you see, we could
Sometimes you could
try
add
to
on.
add something
Okay,
on. We could
okay.
try, but generally, no. It is really just there's no there
There's
there.
just the coin.
But maybe there is a there in that Britney. You're a $2 billion brand. Everyone knows Britney. Nobody knows Skunk Coin or
Yeah.
Stinky Doo Doo 23 coin, but everyone knows Britney. She's a famous celebrity. So the brand alone
Right.
should command at least 100 million market cap.
Right.
Because your brand alone is worth 100
Right.
million to us.
That's right.
You know, so what's going to happen is we're going to launch the coin. And now there's only 70 available for sale because you're holding 20, I'm holding 5, and you're holding 5. And now all of a sudden there's $100 million chasing after
Britney
70
coin.
available coins. What do you think the price of that coin would
It's gonna
do?
be really
It
high.
starts
yeah.
to skyrocket.
Yeah.
And then what we can do is we can dump our coins onto the market.
Yeah. And then make all that money really quick.
And that's what she did. You know, and it's
Didn't she
legal
hold
gray
99%?
areas, and it's probably illegal, but maybe not. And she's probably gonna get tied up in civil litigation or not. You know, it just who knows,
So
guys, how it's gonna play
don't
out.
be dumb.
But if there's a meme
Yeah, know
that
what
you
you're
like,
doing.
guys, like do it. Put in $20, $50. That's not going to change your life. $50.
Where do you find
It's
those?
not gonna change your life.
You just like search.
Get a Twitter account.
Oh yeah, if you love the game,
Follow
as much
Chris.
as
I don't
you
have
gotta
a Twitter
send
account
and you
still.
hunt.
Every time I try to log in, it says I'm permanently banned.
You need to get on.
And I don't even know why. I never even got. I created the account, and after I created it, it said you're
Hit up
permanently banned.
Elon.
Well, I mean, if he would
No,
respond
you need
to
to
me.
get on there.
I know.
I've been really like pressured.
But then I'd
because
get,
there's
like,
a lot of
addicted.
communities on there.
I'm not
and then
on there
they're
anymore.
all talking to each other, and sure, there might
have
be.
one.
If you're saying, oh well, with a meme coin, there's no utility. Okay, well, what about this? What about sense of belonging? What about because it's funny? I did it for the lulz. What about
Well, now
community?
people don't want to drop
What about
20, even
community?
$20 for the lulz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they're
well,
not in. They're not in
yeah.
those communities. There's
Yeah,
lots of
'cause some
internet people
will
that
drop
want to.
20 million.
I
for
understand
those
that,
lulz.
but
Yeah.
there's also people that literally like we just said, they don't make shit money, so like they're
Yeah.
not gonna drop $20 on the hot
If they can
too
turn
low.
that 20 into 100 in a day, they would.
Which is
Yeah,
happening every
it's
minute of
happening.
every day.
Every
but
day.
you gotta find the right one.
You do.
Exactly.
You do.
That's why I said meme cornery is like the slot machine of the crypto world.
And it is.
I think it's like
It
for
is.
yeah,
But
for
if
sometimes.
it's fun,
yeah, it's for fun. It's more
It's
for
a hobby.
fun.
and I mean
It's not
It's a
something
hobby
I
that
would
can make you
suggest people
rich.
do.
that's kind of awesome, though.
It's a hobby that can make you rich.
Yeah.
Lots of
I
people
just
got
want a meme
really rich
coin.
off of it.
There you go. See,
We
you
have
love
one.
it already, and you don't even know.
We have Pepe.
No, I mean I want to.
Oh, your
be-
own?
Oh, you can do
Yeah.
that. So,
Oh.
you joke, but we
You can make it.
You could launch your own coin tonight.
Yeah, but I need to be able. I gotta have more followers. Subscribe.
There you go.
And
All
buy
right.
our coin.
Shameless plug. Yeah,
Not
it's
yet.
coming, guys.
Not
We're gonna
yet.
launch a
All
coin.
right, this episode's getting long.
It's gonna
now.
be Brittany, the ticker Brit, BRIT.
Be ready. No, it's be ready.
Oh, I love that.
Be ready.
So
For
yeah,
Brittany.
guys, stay tuned.
REDDY.
We're gonna do a little bit of
Be
DeFi.
ready.
No, ready like red hair.
Oh. Oh yeah, I put 2 E's.
There is a Grinch meme coin.
Yep, there was.
Yeah,
Done well.
Up and down.
Yeah, for Christmas. Or
Gotta
something?
ride it up, get out.
There's a bunch
and-
of Christmas memes
Yeah.
coming out.
I buddy the
Rizmos.
Rizmas, yeah.
What? Oh my
Rizmas.
God. Okay.
All right,
Riz.
it's getting late.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting late. We've been recording
Well,
for almost 2 hours.
Oh my gosh,
it's
are
an
you serious?
hour and
Yep.
41 minutes.
No
I have
way.
to. I have to edit this.
Oh my
so
god, I love. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
Not over 2.
All right, well, I love you guys.
Thanks
Hi,
for
Mom.
coming.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
thanks for
dude,
having
thanks
me.
for coming.
Thanks for
And
teaching
where
the
can
people.
where can people
Yes,
find you on your
sorry,
social?
I almost forgot.
You have
Oh,
a YouTube.
Yeah,
MC Stone has his own channel.
I
You
do.
can go figure out all this
yeah.
shit
Check
that I
the
don't talk
story,
about.
you guys.
You
Check
guys,
the
I don't.
story.
I still, honestly, I still am very confused. But not saying you didn't do a good job. It's just that there's a lot of stuff to learn. So that's why you should just go to your.
Yeah, a lot.
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it took me like 10 years for this guy to like break
Yeah,
through.
yeah. You're not gonna
it's
learn it all
ridiculous.
today,
And
so-
I've covered. I've scraped maybe 1% of the surface.
If you
guys.
leave here feeling still a little
So-
confused, you can head over to.
Yeah, to my channel, MC Stone. We'll leave a link in the description
Yes,
of
we
the
will.
video.
Mhm.
Come check out, like, subscribe,
Yeah.
and check the score. So scroll back to older videos I've done and be like, let's see if this guy really has been calling it correctly.
Yeah.
And the answers will speak for themselves. You'll be able to see companies, coins, investment opportunities that I've been calling out. Scroll back as far as you want, and then check the charts and look at if, with the benefit of hindsight, if I've been
Yep.
anywhere close to over the target. And I think you might be surprised.
People always learn the most from other people's wins and losses. Hence,
Yeah.
like social media.
And we'll air it
right?
out, guys. And I've blown up
So,
accounts before too.
yeah.
So I've done some. I've lost. Got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, and that's part of it too. I'm certainly not always right.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's
no
what
one can be.
no one
yeah,
can
not
be.
even close. But
So-
I can point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a scent and I hunt.
Yep.
So.
You just got to start.
Well,
You gotta
got a
try.
scent and I
You
hunt.
guys, I love you
Thanks.
so
Thanks, dude.
much.
Christmas
I
for
love
Phoenix.
Yeah,
Christmas for Phoenix.
Christmas.
Oh,
Go
oh,
Grinch.
oh.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.